If you're a doctor, nurse, or aesthetic practitioner in private practice, you might be considering adding extra services to boost your income. Adding an extra service to your clinic is one of the fastest ways of increasing your income. After all, if you get more existing patients or clients to buy more from you by offering an additional treatment as a cross-sell, you will increase your income, right? Yes, that's right. However, I think there's a big but that is often overlooked. In this video, I will explain the 5 things you must consider before adding a new service or treatment to your practice as a cross-sell. And towards the end, I will tell you the biggest mistake most doctors and nurses and aesthetic clinic owners make when weighing up the pros and cons of adding a new service or treatment option to their clinic menu. So what are these 5 considerations? Well, before we dive into each one in turn, here's the list. Is there a demand for this service? What is the setup cost? What is the marketing cost? Is the procedure easy to learn? What are the regulatory and legal requirements? Now let's consider these in turn using the examples of microsclerotherapy and shortwave diathermy. And just as a reminder, microsclerotherapy is used for the treatment of leg spider veins and shortwave diathermy is used for the treatment of facial spider veins. If you want to know more about microsclerotherapy and shortwave diathermy, I've made 2 videos all about these 2 treatment options and the links are below. So let's look at consideration number 1. Is there demand for this service? It might seem obvious, but it's worth stating clearly right from the outset. If there isn't a demand for the new service that you are considering, you shouldn't add it to your clinic. Now, if you're running a vein clinic or an aesthetic clinic, you will come across many people with spider veins on the legs or spider veins on the face. In fact, it's been estimated that around 8 out of 10 adults will be affected by either leg spider veins or facial spider veins at some stage in their life, and 50% of adults will have one or both of these conditions at any one time. Yes, that's right. Half of your existing clients and patients will have these conditions when they walk into your clinic. You probably know many people attending your clinic right now who are already asking about how they can get treatment for their leg or facial spider veins. How many inquiries about facial or leg spider veins are you turning away right now? How much extra revenue could you add to your clinic if you could treat these 2 conditions? So as you can see, there's a huge potential demand for microsclerotherapy and shortwave diathermy, but this might not be the case for the treatment option that you are considering to add to your clinic. Let's say, for example, that you're looking at a treatment such as fat removal or body contouring or skin tightening. Before expanding your services, you should seriously consider doing some internal market research. Now, this doesn't need to be complicated or expensive. I'm not suggesting you need to hire an independent market research company. Just ask the next 25 people attending your clinic if they might be interested in the new service that you are thinking of introducing. If the majority say yes, then move on to consideration number 2. What is the setup cost? Will you need to buy expensive equipment or will you need extra space in your clinic? Will you need to make building modifications or build an extension to your premises? Will you need to hire extra specially trained staff? Get quotes and estimates for these and don't forget to factor in the cost of servicing and maintenance and consumables. For microsclerotherapy and shortwave diathermy, the setup costs are negligible or at least very low. For microsclerotherapy, there is no need for any additional special equipment and no special modifications to your treatment rooms or your building. And the total cost of needles, syringes and sclerosants used is less than £10 per treatment session. For shortwave diathermy, the cost of the shortwave diathermy machine that I use is less than £900 and the consumables are less than £5 per treatment session. Compare these costs with the cost of using a laser machine. Laser machines can cost tens of thousands of pounds, can require a separate room, they might need additional cooling machines, and they might need special signage and modifications to your building and to your clinic. They require regular servicing and maintenance. As you can see, microsclerotherapy and shortwave diathermy have very low setup costs compared to introducing a service that involves lasers. Now, if you've assessed the setup cost as being affordable, then this leads to consideration number 3. What are the marketing costs of the new service? Now, if you've done your own internal market research and you know that there is already interest in your new service among your existing clients, then your marketing costs should be near zero. Your marketing campaign may be as simple as telling your existing clients about the new service verbally when they visit your clinic, or it might be by announcing the new service in your email newsletter or on your website. Now, if you've added microsclerotherapy and shortwave diathermy to your treatment options, marketing will be very simple and straightforward. For example, you might note that your client has leg spider veins or facial spider veins, and you might simply ask your client if they might be interested in having these treated. You don't have to do this in a pushy or salesy way, and it can be done in an ethical and kind way. In fact, consider it an act of kindness to a valued client who already trusts you to treat other conditions. Your client may be really bothered by their spider veins, and they will be so grateful to know that you have a treatment for them. Having assessed the marketing costs to be low, proceed on to consideration number 4. Is the procedure easy to learn? If the new procedure requires a considerable investment in time to learn and master it, it probably isn't a good fit for your clinic. The training courses needed to learn the new procedure may cost several thousands of pounds and may take you away from your business for an extended period of time. In addition, if the procedure is complicated and requires a lot of training, it will be difficult to delegate to staff in your clinic. Procedures that are relatively easy to learn can be delegated to your existing staff members, leveraging your time and providing extra revenue without your direct involvement. Microsclerotherapy and shortwave diathermy are both relatively easy to learn, and they can be easily delegated to aesthetic practitioners. You don't need to hire additional qualified staff to add these two microsclerotherapy and shortwave diathermy treatment options to your clinic. Having identified the new procedure as being easy to learn, this leads to consideration number 5. What are the regulatory and legal requirements? In the UK, adding certain treatments may require registration with the Care Quality Commission, the CQC. This adds an extra layer of complexity to your clinic, extra costs, additional staff and administrative time, as well as compliance issues. Extra insurance and indemnity may also be required. Are these regulatory and legal requirements prohibitive to you and the size of your clinic? If you already run a private practice or aesthetic clinic, microsclerotherapy and shortwave diathermy don't really impose any additional regulatory or legal burdens, certainly in the UK at present. But you need to check your own jurisdiction and you need to keep up to date with this issue as time goes by. So in summary, there are 5 important considerations when thinking of adding a new service to your clinic. Is there a demand for the service? What is the setup cost? What is the marketing cost? Is the procedure easy to learn? What are the regulatory and legal requirements? If you think I've missed something, let me know. Do you disagree? Leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear your opinion. Now, at the beginning, I said I would tell you the biggest mistake most doctors and nurses and aesthetic clinic owners make when weighing up the pros and cons of adding a new service or treatment option to their clinic. In my opinion, it's confusing gross profit and net profit. Let me explain. Gross profit refers to sales, also known as revenue or turnover, minus the total cost of sales. Net profit includes the same costs as your gross profit plus your overheads or fixed costs such as salaries, rent, software and bank charges. Many doctors, nurses and aesthetic practitioners may be tempted to add a new service when they're looking at gross profit. But when they add the cost of the additional overheads such as leasing costs, servicing costs annual training, staff costs, additional insurance and regulatory overheads, the new service may not look quite so attractive. When talking to a rep about a new piece of expensive kit, the rep will often emphasize the opportunities for additional gross profit, and they will omit to explore the additional overhead costs linked to acquiring the equipment, such as the cost of leasing, and they may omit the overhead costs such as servicing and maintenance. Now, when you're deciding whether to add a new treatment option, make sure you calculate the net profit for that treatment. Decide how much you can charge, then deduct the cost of goods, the consumables, to calculate the gross profit, and then deduct all the overhead costs for that treatment, such as staff costs, leasing, servicing, maintenance, regulatory costs, etc. You might find that a service that looks good from the point of view of gross profit may actually be sucking money out of your business when you carefully calculate the net profit. By that I mean you might make a net loss. I would love to hear about you and your business. Are you a solopreneur? Are you a health professional with your own clinic? Have you expanded your services recently to increase profits? How did it go? Let me know in the comments section below. I really look forward to reading all of these, and I promise you that I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you found this information valuable, please consider hitting the like button. It really does help my channel, and check out all the links in the description box below. I hope to see you again, so don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and that way you won't miss my next video. Thank you for watching, and thank you for staying to the end.